2026 Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. Top of the line, of course, in tactical green, which I think looks pretty clean. $450 for this color in specific. This is pretty much the last truck in this segment that still has a naturally aspirated big old V6, 3.8 liter V6 under the hood, 310 horsepower. The rest of the competition is, I think, all of them in pretty much have moved over to a 4-cylinder with some sort of hybrid or turbo setup. So if you're looking for a naturally aspirated vehicle, a truck in this size, this is pretty much the only thing you have. You have the 32-inch tall tires with the 17-inch wheels. You have the Bilstein shocks, rear locker, skid plates in the front. It is a proper off-roader. And when I'm driving this, I feel like I'm almost driving reliability itself. It has this very solid feel on the road, pretty heavy steering, and I love to see it. I also love the interior, a lot of old school buttons in there. We're gonna have a look at that in a minute. But first of all, let's check out what's under the hood, then check out the front end, side, rear, the bed, of course, the interior, and then last but not least, we're gonna take this for a drive. So let's start with what's under the hood of this 2026 Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. We have, as I said, a 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6, 310 horsepower, 281 pound-feet of torque, connected to a 9-speed automatic. You got 4-wheel drive, of course, with 4-wheel high and 4-wheel low. 0 to 60, not the quickest, who cares? 7.5 seconds. Fuel economy comes in at 16, city 20 highway. And the price, as this one is spec'd with this tactical green color, that is a $450 option, comes out to $48,735. And I do like this design. It is a very, very clean looking truck. It has a very chiseled design to it and traditional truck proportions, of course. You got about 9.5 inches of ground clearance for this Pro 4X. It's actually the same ride height as other Frontiers. The thing that makes it a little bit taller is going to be the tire size, which are 32 inches for the Pro 4X. The front end looks really good. They did facelift it, so we have now the whole entire front end with this black grille. We used to have a separation with the bumper here, with the bumper color between the lower half and the top half graphics, but having it completely black like this, it gives it a much more rugged look. And I've always loved these headlights. These remind me of the old Ram 1500 daytime run lights that they got rid of for the facelift. For most trim levels, we have LED indicator right here. Beautiful chiseledness going on with these beautiful chamfers around the key graphics. I do wish this had some functionality to it right here on the side, but I do love all the chamfers that goes around every single key graphics. You have some fog lights in the lower section right here, and full LED headlights, of course, looking beautiful. I do like these, bringing it back to some older Nissan models with these intakes here. These are actually fake. Also wish that these were open. It would just make more sense. Just open this up right here. It's not a big thing to do, and you would have some functionality to it. Now, looking at the front end grille, as you can see, it's completely open in the top half right here. We have the front mounted camera in this area, orange or amber, I don't know what to call this color. It's sort of orange red color for the Nissan logo. Front mounted camera right there. And it's also open all the way down low in the lower section. We have the skid plates, steel skid plates with orange tow hooks as well. So properly designed for the purpose of taking this off-road. And that is what I love to see with trucks like this, that it's not just a visual package for it. It actually has some nice functionality to it, and that is, of course, what you want when you buy a Pro 4X. Now, coming around to the side view, we do have the 17-inch Pro wheels, which I love the design of, because they don't look, I wouldn't call them beautiful design for them, but they have this purposeful look to them, and they're also blacked out, which is fine for off-road vehicles. 32-inch tall tires that look pretty good. Not sure if I want to put I would probably want to put 33s on here. And also, one thing I would always want to do, let's go on the sunny side here so you can see exactly what's going on. One thing I always want to do with trucks like this is they have this raked stance to it. So it sits lower in the front end and taller in the rear. I would 100% want to have this leveled. That was the first thing I did when I got my Ram Rebel back in the day. I just wanted to level it up, and I put 35s on and just have it look, it looks better. I don't like this raked design that we have from factory, but that is, of course, for if you're gonna load stuff, heavy stuff in the back, you want to have the rear end sit a little higher, so when it dips down, then it's going to be level. But looking at these side mirrors here, tactical green side mirrors in body color. We don't have any indicators in the mirrors itself. We have the body painted door handles here as well, and this Ford F-150 style dip in the window, which looks pretty cool. I would want to see some protection for the lower section in the side here with some rock sliders right here. It's completely exposed now, and I would definitely want to put some protection on it right there, but that is probably something you put for an aftermarket company, or maybe you can get it from this side. I'm not entirely sure. Up top we do have it's just a standard size sunroof, something I don't really care about in this specific truck. I would much rather not have it than have it in this specific vehicle. And you can see some beautiful line flow coming over the front fender right here, going in, cutting down to the lower section, coming back up in the rear end and into the corner of the taillight right here. We have the Pro 4X sticker, of course, and the Bilstein shocks, which actually works really well on normal roads as well as off-road. It feels very, very comfy, this truck. And as I said, when you're driving this, it just feels like it feels like you're driving almost, it feels super solid. The reliability of these trucks, when it's a naturally aspirated V6 that they've had around for a very long time, I do believe the reliability of this truck is fantastic. It feels like it when you're sitting in it, when you're driving it, and when you're playing around with all the functions for this truck. Now coming around to the rear end, facelifted back here as well. I do love that it spells out Frontier across the entire lower section right here. And this piece, this is how you know this is the facelifted version, because now we have this big black piece, which actually I think looks pretty cool. It adds some contrast to this rear end, and it feels like it ties back to the front end with the blacked out nose. We have full LED, love to see it in this price range. Even the indicator is LED right here. Great job by Nissan not making this a regular old light bulb for 2026. We don't have any sort of exposed tailpipes or anything like that. The bumper is actually also body colored in this lower section with the parking sensors going on right here. And we also have a backup camera right there with the same Nissan logo that we have in the front end. So let's fold this down. It is dampened, as you can see. We have a spray-on bed liner here as well with some tie downs. You have these static tie downs right here, so you can't move these pieces, but you can move this and slide this across to whatever you need. You also have a outlet right here, and you have more tie downs here on the left side, in addition to some LEDs underneath these rails. Pretty basic stuff for the bed, but it's got everything you need, in my opinion. You don't really need a lot more than this to do everyday tasks. So let's fold this back up. And with that said, we talked about the exterior design. Let me know what you think about this facelift. I'm gonna pop up an image of the pre-facelift and the facelift version right here, so you can tell me which one do you prefer. I think both of them looks good. I definitely prefer the tail end of the facelift with the blacked out graphics that we have here. The front end, I'm kind of indifferent. I like the pre-facelift as well when we have the separation with the bumper, but it still looks pretty good. And I think it looks a little bit more rugged when we have it all blacked out. So with that said, talked about the exterior design. Let's jump in and have a look at this absolutely fantastic interior with all the buttons you want in a 2026 model year. So let's check that out. This is exactly what I want to see for a 2026 model year truck of this caliber. Off-road, supposed to be functionality first and foremost, even though we still have they still decided to add a little bit of luxury here. You can see the padded armrest here, for example. We have a nice little simple toggle for the mirrors and the controls for the windows up and down, cup holders down here, optional fender speaker system. I'm going to show you the fenders in the back. They actually sit underneath the seat, which is pretty cool to see. And I do like this accent color in this area. Power assisted seats, of course. And I love this Pro 4X inside of the seats themselves. Looking very cool. So let's jump in here. Let's see if we need to turn the car around a little bit, because we have, as always at this time of the day, let's turn it around. Turn off the hazards. Let's just turn it around so you can see exactly what it is I'm doing. Driving this, I mean, it feels so solid. The steering has this nice heavy feel to it. I love to feel it. I love to see it. And then we also, of course, have these things. The analog gauges, looking beautiful, and it sounds pretty good as well. This naturally aspirated V6, 3.8 liter, not bad at all. And in the middle, you have what you need, being digital. You know, the center portion, that's all you need. You don't really need a bigger screen than this, and I definitely prefer to have the analog tachometer and the speedometer instead of having everything being completely digital. And I'm sure you know that by now. It's just a fantastic setup with a nice housing for it up here as well. We have a new type of integration for the screen. I love the integration here because look how beautifully it follows the rest of the dash. It does not have these weird things that sticks up like this, which I cannot stand when the screen is not integrated nicely in the dash. Here, it's a perfect integration in my opinion. And of course, you do get wireless Apple CarPlay, which is absolutely fantastic to see. You have some nice vents here, very easy to adjust these vents, no problems at all. You can the thing about this interior is you can figure everything out in 5 seconds. You get what everything does. There's no complicated software. The software actually looks pretty outdated, which I don't mind because I'm always gonna have my phone connected to it anyways. You also have Frontier spelled out here. And look at this. All of these toggles and buttons, and these buttons down here, they actually look pretty old school. You have high and low for the temperature, for the heated seats. You have a button for the heated steering wheel, parking sensors right there. And this definitely looks, this four-wheel drive toggle between four-wheel high and four-wheel low, this 100% looks like it came from the 90s or even the 80s, and I love to see it. It has a very old school vibe to it. But this is what I want to see for pretty much every car. It's very simple. You have a cigarette outlet right there as well, 2 USBs, 1 regular USB, great to see it, and another USB-C in that area. And of course, the toggles here for the climate settings and the controls. Very, very easy to use. You have automatic shut off for the engine, red light, start button right here. Pretty hard to find this start button if you don't know where it is, because even if you lean over like this, you still can't see where the start button is. You really need to lean over all the way here to find it. Right there. And then you also have, let me open the door so you can see it. This is where you have the locking rear diff, cargo lamp right there, traction control on and off, and this is the lane keep assist. So let's turn this off right there. Interesting position for these buttons in this area, but I don't mind that. They're still physical buttons exactly like I want to see. Now coming around to this area, we have 2 cup holders. Putting it into reverse is of course going to pop in the reverse camera. We have a full 360 view and an extremely grainy backup camera. I mean, I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but this is like a 240p resolution for this camera, but it doesn't matter. You can barely see if there are any cars behind it. So the camera system is not the best, but honestly, it's just a small little detail. The key looks like this. I'm sure you've seen the Nissan key by now. You have a remote start, lock, unlock, panic button, and Nissan logo right there. Beautiful. And new, I think this is new for 2025 or 2026. You have the hill descent control and some drive modes here. So you have sand, mud, rock, and on-road driving modes right here. Grab handles in this area for the passenger and the driver as well, with the stitching orange coming back. Wireless charging pad in this area. Opening up the armrest, you do have a little bit of storage in there. Would probably want to see a little bit more storage than this for this type of truck, but it's good enough and very pretty. Actually, it's pretty solid, this armrest right here. Now we do have the seats, Pro 4X. The seat design looked beautiful with the orange stitching looking great. And of course, Pro 4X stitched inside of the seat themselves. Very nice design for this. You don't need more bolstering than this in my opinion. And you have a pretty big glove box right here. Here's a sticker. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen right now so you can see it for yourself, what options this type of vehicle has. You can pause it if you wanna see it. So looking up top, we have a regular size sunroof. As I said, when we talked about the exterior, I don't really care for this sunroof at all. I would much rather not have it at all and just have it be covered up and cozy like this. I would probably never open this myself. And in the back, you do have a manually opening glass window in the rear right there. Now look at the steering wheel. This is probably the thing that feels the most dated in this vehicle, the steering wheel design. Even though I don't mind it at all, it's still functional, and I don't think we need to upgrade every single little detail that is still functional, and that goes for this steering wheel as well. It's a good looking steering wheel, have the Nissan logo in the middle, cruise control settings right here, controls for the volume and the screen in the middle right here. We have the indicator stalk on the left side, and we have of course the washer stalk right here on the right side. So with that said, a couple of things I want to talk about in the rear end, specifically the speakers with this optional fender system. It takes out a pretty huge amount of space in the back. So check this out. We have the speakers sitting all the way down here. This is I think this is the subwoofer. I could be wrong there. You can also fold this up. So we have this lever here. Let me see if I can do it one-handed. There we go. So you can fold this up, and you can also fold up that area right there. And you can see that we do have some storage underneath the bigger seat in this area. So jumping in here, first of all, looking at the door panel, pretty much same situation as I have in the front end. However, I do want to see this being orange like we have in the front doors right there. So you skimped out a little bit on this design right here. But other than that, it's pretty functional. Jumping in here, I'm 6'2", so it's pretty tight in here, I have to say. And that is the problem that we have with pretty much every single truck in this size, the mid-size segment. It's not very spacious in the back, so keep that in mind. Might want to go for the full-size truck if you plan on having adults back here for a longer time. But if we fold down the center armrest, of course, we have two cup holders right there. And in addition to that, we have more USBs here. USB-C, regular USB, and a 12-volt house outlet right there. Looking beautiful. So with that said, we talked about the exterior design, the interior design. Now let's take this beauty for a drive and let's see what that is all about. You know the drill, guys. Let's take the 2026 Frontier Pro 4X for a drive. The first thing you notice, at least I noticed when I step into the Frontier compared to the competition, is the steering. The steering has this very solid and heavy, nice feel to it. And also the power delivery is very linear, since we don't have any turbo or hybrid assist for this one. It's a pretty pleasurable driving experience. Flooring it here. Love the sound of the V6. Sounds very, very good. It's not the quickest vehicle out there at 7.5 seconds to 60, but I don't think people will buy it for the 0 to 60 time. They buy it for the driving characteristics, of course, taking it off-road and so on. And in that regard, it is a very, very good truck with the Bilstein shocks. You have the protection underneath the skid plates. The only thing I would add to this is just some sort of rock sliders on the side to not damage the body if I take it on some really proper trails. It is, after all, a truck, so the wheelbase is pretty long. I don't want to have that center portion between the axles protected. And you also, of course, have the locking rear diff in addition to four-wheel high and four-wheel low. So you have everything you need to take this wherever you need to go. It's going to get you there, hopefully, if you just drive properly and know what you're doing. And one detail that definitely makes me prefer this over the competition, I do like the 4 cylinders that we have, for example, from GMC Canyon and the Chevy Colorado. Great powertrains. I think they have 326 horsepower. I could be wrong. They're a little bit more than this. But the interiors, this is where this Frontier shines. I mean, look at this. The integration of the dash, the infotainment screen, the physical gauges for the tachometer, speedometer, with some actual physical needles and dials that have been produced and not just pixelated. I love to see it for a 2026 model year. Coming onto the highway here, and we're up to 70 there. It feels, if Ram's 1500, as I reviewed last week, if that one feels like a much more nimble truck and lighter truck, this one feels like a heavier and more and larger truck than what it actually is to drive. And I feel like it's a good thing, because you want to have that confidence when you're driving this vehicle, and this actually gives you that. As I said, it feels good to drive this. It feels like I'm driving something that is not easily going to break, if that makes sense. It just gives me that vibe. So overall, the Nissan Frontier for me, the Pro 4X is definitely the one I would go for personally. For about $47,000, I do believe this is spec'd at. I think it's a pretty decent deal because you get a lot of, as we talked about, off-road capabilities, and it feels like it's been purpose-built, this thing. It's not just the sticker in the back and some fancy colors on the exterior. They actually went out to make this a properly off-road capable truck, and that is what you want when you're buying a Pro 4X, of course, whether it be the Titan or this one right here. So great job by Nissan, and please, Nissan, do not switch this up. Just be the outlier in today's car industry and keep these analog buttons. Keep them as I mean. You can maybe update the design of the buttons themselves and not have them look so 90s. But keep the analog gauge cluster and also these buttons right here for the next generation of Frontier. Even though I highly doubt that is going to happen, I would greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.